Well, a hearty good evening to everybody. Once again, this is what, Neil, season 1, episode 3
That's
of
it.
ChampCast, Bubba's Big Broadcast, Champion Brothers. You take the rest of it.
Let's talk some Southern gospel.
We started doing this, what, 2 weeks ago officially, I guess?
Yeah,
And
this is the third time. Yeah.
just got into reminiscing about our days in gospel music and in and around Southern gospel music. And it's just kind of taken a life of its own. I've had some just kind of random people come up and say, man, I watched y'all on that, whatever it was, Facebook or YouTube or whatever, but we're having some time with this. It's pretty good stuff. Enjoying it.
Definitely. Just the reminiscing is just as much fun, as enjoyable as any of the other too. Just thinking back and the times and the people that have been a part of our Southern gospel life over the years. Yeah,
and we've got some more music from the folks that we have sung with coming up through the years, and some more stories to tell, and got a couple of special guests that'll be joining us tonight as well. And the main thing that we're wanting to do is to tell you about the event that's coming up this Saturday night at 7 o'clock. That's March 19th at the Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama. Neal's group, Chosen Witness, my group, Faithful Friends, and the Dixie Echoes will all be there. And I've been hearing some good things, or running into folks that tells me that they're planning on coming. So we're just looking for a good time in the Lord, and hopefully have a good turnout. If we do, fine. If we don't, fine. We just want to have a singing. So we put this thing together back toward the end of last year, and just so looking forward to spending the evening with all of our friends and family and the Dixie Echoes, which have become both to us. It seems like over the last several years, both Neal and I have done some recording with Randy and Scoot and all the gang down at Echo Sound Studio, and just feel like they're part of the family now too.
That's right. Yeah, it's I'm looking so forward to it. I mean, we're just going to have a night with let's see, Chris and them and Neal and them's both going to sing that night. Yeah. But you know what? One of the groups I wanted to talk about tonight that we were such a big part of our lives growing up in the Lamar County, Millport, Alabama area was the Fields family, the Wayman Fields family. Many times we sung with those folks. Of course, we went to school with their kids, and we got to just, like I say, got to share times with them at churches. And somebody's calling, but that's all right.
We'll get back to that later.
But yeah, the Fields family were such a part of that, and I wanted to talk about them some tonight, and I wanted to share some of their music. Now, what I had was a tape that was already worn out, that I wore out back when I listened to cassettes a lot, but I got it out and got it playing, and it's you can tell it's a little worn. This audio quality, just a digitized track from that cassette tape, but I still wanted to share it. This song that I remember them singing, I mean, we loved it so much, we played it at our wedding. Loretta picked it out, and the Fields family sang at our wedding, and they sang this song. Now, it was on a recording, but they shared this song during our wedding.
And I kid Neal all the time, because they basically, he and Loretta had a singing and got married in intermission, because I think you had, about 36 songs in your wedding?
There was a bunch of singing.
Something like that. But
during our wedding, both live and recorded and played. So there's a lot of music for sure.
Anyway, I should have hushed. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. No, this was a big part of it. And I distinctly remember when they recorded this album, and this was the title song on it. And the words in my mind couldn't be any truer for that family, for the Wayman Fields family. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
We stand here together as a family. We join hands together, lifting praises to the Father above, or singing His song.
Amen.
We've chosen together as a family to serve Him forever, knowing nothing else will matter in time. We've made up our minds. Through the heat of the day, we will join in the fight till He takes us away, till our faith becomes sight. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Choose you this day, tell me who will you serve. Let nothing stand in your way, give the praise He deserves. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. We'll serve Him, we'll serve Him, we'll serve Him, for He is worthy. Serve Him, we'll serve Him, we'll serve Him, for He is worthy. Choose you this day, tell me who will you serve. Let nothing stand in your way, give the praise He deserves. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. The Lord. The Lord.
Amen to that. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I remember getting to hear them sing that live many times when we
Yep.
were in concerts with them. I don't know the exact year, but I think it was mid to late 80s that they recorded that. Might have been the early 90s, but I think it was definitely mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a great memory of the Fields family and singing with them. Chris mentioned earlier on one of the earlier broadcasts that Mr. Wayman Fields worked with us with the FFA quartet. He also taught us singing school, and he taught us what those shape notes was all about. And so just in many ways, they were a big part of our singing life.
Yep. And I'm getting stuff coming in many different directions, and I'm thinking about 18 things that I want to say. But
Understand.
talking about Mr. Wayman, I had shared that story with Scoot. We did a radio thing that we're going to be doing on Real Southern Gospel Radio, and one of his favorite songs was the Cathedrals in an old convention song. And I'd ask him, with what y'all do, you probably don't have the opportunity to go to a whole lot of convention singings. And I was sharing the story about, when I was in my early teens and all that, I hated going to, I mean, hate's a strong word, but I strongly disliked going to convention singings because, what the special groups only got to sing a couple of songs at a time. And then it was all new books every year. And I didn't know anything about how to read that. And I was like, but then when Mr. Wayman taught that singing school in 1978, I think it was, wasn't it, somewhere along in there?
Yeah, something like that.
The green A.J. Showalter book, and it was just kind of like the scales fell off. And once we knew what was going on, then it was like, yeah, I don't mind going to these convention singings now. I kind of know what's going on, so enjoy getting to do all of that back then, and that's where I learned how. And I'm trying to look over here on another screen, but Michael Duckworth, buddy of mine, just sent me a picture that he took of the Fields family in a singing mood. Is that the one that I can't tell, I can't see the picture. Let me see. But I don't think that one was on that. The one we just played was on that, but that's pretty cool. And he said that was from a collection that he bought from Wayne Wallace several years ago.
Wow. Cool.
But that was good stuff. And I was remembering about the Fields family, and all the times that we spent with them, both with the FFA quartet and when the Bama Boys and the Fields family would be at singings together, and many, many, many good times. But wanted to say hey to some folks that joining us. David and Pam Baker is checking in tonight, and Nathaniel, a.k.a. Deborah Wallace, is on here tonight, and Miss Dean Bryant Springer, and so they're all checking in. And y'all, if you want to, if you're watching us, chime in and let us know what you're thinking about, or if you got any questions you want us, or anything you want us to talk about or not talk about, or anything like that. And should I try the giveaway thing again? Hey, look, there's Junior Williams. He wants to know how's it going. So
rolling right
good
along.
To hear from Junior. Yes,
For
sir.
Sure.
But,
yeah, you can do the giveaway if you want to.
We did this last week, and I'm still learning how to do it. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to put this up right there. If you will go into the comment section and look down there at the bottom left of the screen, and if you'll just type that in just like that is, with the hashtag, the pound sign, the tic-tac-toe board, whatever you want to call it, and then Bama Boys all together, no spaces. And if you'll do that and just put that in the comments before we go off tonight, we'll give somebody a couple of Bama Boys records. One of them, well, I got both of them back here. Let's see. And I'm still camera challenged, but that's one. Can you see that? Yeah. Ours and others, there you go. Which is one that we did. And then we got the Payday in Heaven too. So now that vinyl is back in fashion or style or vogue or whatever you want to call it, if I can get them to stay up there. But
we'll tell you what, while people are getting in there on the contest, I got another song I'd like us to play from the Bryant Brothers. I mean, not the Bryant Brothers. Oh, I gave it away. From the Fields family. This one featured Miss Gail Fields on the lead, and also had a solo part in there. And we talked a lot last week, I think, about the Bryant Brothers from Millport, what a influence they were in our life. Well, Miss Gail was she was a Bryant sister. She was a sister to all of those Bryant Brothers. And of course, her and her family were the Wayman Fields family that sang. But I want to play this one that kind of will get you tapping your toe a little bit, and it features Miss Gail. Yep, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once. I know I'm in charge of the music, but here we go. It's called Jesus, He's Evermore the Same.
I know there's one thing in this life that will never ever change. Sweet Jesus, my sweet Lord. Now when they thought of many ways to make this world a different place,
Well, I say it about every week. Are there any questions? There better not be. That's good singing right there now. I don't care where you are. The Fields
Absolutely.
family. Jesus, he's evermore the same. So, but yeah, there was, I think that was Mr. Wayman, Miss Gail, and Tim and Lanita, probably Marcia playing the piano.
Yep.
And somebody had asked me, I can't remember if it was on this or somewhere else, but about the Singing Bryants. Now, that was kind of another branch off group. The Singing Bryants, as I remember them, was Mr. Wayman and Miss Gail Fields and Sammy and Mavis Bird that did a lot of singing. I think Marcia played the piano for them, but they did a quality. I mean, I think I know I've said this before. I've never met a Bryant from around here that couldn't sing. So
That's right. Even if they wouldn't admit it, they still could. Yeah.
Yep. And one of the greatest, we talked last week about one of the greatest honors we ever had was when the Bryant brothers asked us to play with them. The other one, and this was even higher in my opinion, is when they asked us to sing at Paul Bryant's funeral.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
They're all the Bryant clan's dad. And
Yeah.
I mean, that was just one of those, wait, are you serious right now?
Right. You want us to
That's
sing?
probably the most nervous I've ever been at a funeral, was singing that in front of all those folks that knew what singing was.
Right.
For sure. So.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of the Singing Bryants, I've got, if we do some more of these, which I think we probably will, at least for a little while, people seem to enjoy it. I've actually got a couple of older Singing Bryants albums that I've come across, and we'll share some of that. One of them is even, it's titled, it actually says the Bryant Trio in earlier days. And I didn't even realize there was, at one time they were the Bryant Trio. So yeah, we'll get to enjoy some of that in another week.
Well, let's see. It's time to bring on a guest. You ready for that, or is there something else you wanted to do?
No, let's do it. Special guest, blast from the past, from today and tomorrow. Who knows?
Yes, indeed. Now, I was fixing to put him on camera, but then he's like putting a piece of paper up that I can't see. So,
Yeah.
all right. Everybody put your hands together and let's make welcome Mark Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Mark.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I decided to do like y'all, just put up a logo or something and black it out for.
Oh, okay. Well, that might work even better. If you
All right. I see what you're doing now. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew y'all would get it eventually.
And don't adjust your screens. Mark has always been a notch or two above both Neal and me. So
There we go. Now.
But yeah, Mark Jones has been in a part of mine and Neal's lives almost as long as we've been a part of each other's lives. But Mark, you came along, and we first met you back in the Colombian days, back in the mid to late 1970s, when your brother James was playing the piano and you played the drums, and then you were kind enough to show me a little bit about how to play the drums and a drum set and all that. And when you moved over to the piano, and I slid in, but just kind of, in your own words, and realizing that we've got another guest in the green room, but we can't go all night. But tell us about your journey and what brought you into Southern gospel music and what made you like it so much.
Well, as y'all know, I grew up listening to country and gospel all at the same time. But when I only took about 3-year piano lessons, and my dad, Calvin Jones, drug me to all those gospel singings around. First Saturday night, this church. Second Saturday night, that church. Third Saturday night, Belt Baptist Church. And fourth Saturday night, Beaver Creek. And it was every month. Didn't matter what come up. He never once asked, would you like to go? He just said, we're going. Yep. And then once he figured out that I could play by ear, and in most every key, he just took advantage of that and would get me up in front of an audience and to play. And my dad was a director, as y'all know. I mean, he could get the most out of any group of singers, period. He'd stop them right in the middle of a song, and he'd get right, more or less, walk right up to the front row and say, now, if y'all don't start singing, I'm going to get y'all up here in front of the crowd with me. And of course, they get a little embarrassed and like, no, just sort of like the teacher getting on to you. So he'd look around, he'd say, son, I want you to speed this up and raise it a notch or two. And he just meant raise the key. And most people in music realize that when you raise a key, it makes it a little more majestic. It's just a natural thing. And when you speed it up, it almost makes people want to clap with it. And so what happened, it was a natural effect. And he would take something like Everybody Will Be Happy Over There, or I'll Fly Away. And usually he'd take a book and start slapping it. But anyway, at the end of the time, he'd have the house rocking. And when he realized he could do that, that started meaning that, and then playing the drums as well, kind of combined. But then again, Neal and I was asked to go to one practice for the Colombians the same night. And I think his dad handed him a bass guitar, which he had never played. He had played regular guitar, and put me on a drum set, which wasn't mine. I had played a snare drum in the band at school, and that was it. So basically, but if you can do one, you can do the other with a little practice. It's not exactly that way with the hi-hat and everything going on with something with every foot you got in both hands, but you soon learn the coordination. It's like driving a car. And but after that, we just got exposed to all this music y'all were talking about. So in other words, we were hearing, we would be sitting on the seat beside an awesome bass singer to our left and a high tenor to our right, or a baritone on the seat in front of us, and we could hear all these parts, but we couldn't necessarily do them. But you do that for about a year or so, and suddenly you're picking out some of those notes and hitting what you can, and you don't really realize what the Bright Brothers. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The main effect that they had on me, and this, when we started Chosen Witness. If you remember, I had written a bunch of songs, and we had learned a song and wanted to get together and just practice it and sing it. We did. We decided to have a concert. Do you remember who was at that concert?
They were.
Do you remember?
The Bright Brothers were.
The Bright Brothers. And the reason that was a big deal to me is that going back and watching, that was one of the first, like the camera, it turned to the crowd, and it was one of the first people that jumped up to give us a standing ovation. And in my thoughts, I'm thinking, oh my, if they are going to do that, and they have all this history and they know music. So that's just the thing. You can't fool singers that really know music.
Right.
That gave me the confidence that, oh my goodness, we've got to go forward and do something. And honestly, that made that big a difference in my life right then. It's
it did, yeah.
So
absolutely. And Mark, I know you're sitting there at the piano, but we hadn't got the internet strung through the can all the way down to Zion. And I would love for you to play, but I'm not, the quality of the internet feed's not allowing us to make it sound like it should. And I don't want to cheat you, but can I play you playing something else? Is that all right?
Sure. That'll be great.
Neal, you tell me which one you want me to play.
Yeah. Let's play a little bit of a sweet, sweet spirit. I always liked the way Mark played that one. So yeah, let's play that. Here's Mark Jones on the piano.
I mean, if you want to turn around and act like you're playing, that'll be fine. But anyway.
Yeah, there you go. You can finger sync instead of lip sync.
Oh, that's good stuff right there. That's Mark Jones and Sweet, Sweet Spirit. How'd you learn all that, Mark?
I don't know. And I'm not bragging. I mean, everything I can do is strictly just God given gift. It's just I hear what I hear and try to make my fingers do what I'm feeling, and that's all I can say.
So you played with the you played with the Colombians back in the day, the drums, and then you moved to piano when James went to college. Your brother, who was playing piano, and then you played with the Bama Boys for years as we traveled all around that area. And then as that season in life ended, and as the season came when we started Chosen Witness, you were right there, one of the founding members of Chosen Witness. And I actually did some math, Mark. Boy, it tells a lot about our age, but we've been knowing each other and playing and singing together for the better part of 45 years as of this year.
Wow.
And that's I don't see how that's possible, but it is. That's how long I've sat and listened to Mark Jones talk. I mean, y'all think about that a little bit now. Just think. But no, it's been great. It's been great, Mark. We got some great stories to share too. Let me tell one story real quick, and then we got another special guest, hadn't we? We're going to bring in.
Yes.
Now, I don't even know if you remember this, Mark, but we were singing over. It's actually in Northeast Mississippi, I believe. One Sunday afternoon. It's one of them where we sang that morning. They had dinner outside, and then we sang in the afternoon. We had come back inside that afternoon and was just getting ready to start back. The preacher had already told Daddy, y'all just get up there and let's get it going this afternoon, So we was all getting in place, and he was over on the piano, and we overheard somebody stick their head in the back door and said, now listen, this was a country church now, all right? And there was literally outhouses at this church, all right? That was the restroom facility.
Here we go.
It really was outhouses. And somebody stuck their head in the back door and said that there was a snake that had been spotted in the ladies' outhouse. Okay. Now just imagine that. And why they had to tell the church, I don't know. But the second Mark heard that, Mark is a very curious individual. Very curious.
That's putting it mildly.
He popped up and he started down the side. He's going to get out there and see that. And my daddy,
check it out, man. Go check it out.
My daddy was not a very forceful person, if you will, as far as, we were fairly well behaved, so he didn't have to get on us a lot and all. But that day he said, Mark, he looked at you and barked out, Mark, and son, you stopped in your tracks, turned around, sat right down at that piano, and then we hit a song. So you never did get to see the snake in the outhouse, did you?
I did not. I was going to fix the problem, though,
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
If nothing else, I could hear a song in that one day, you never
right.
know.
That's right. That's right.
And this ain't got anything to do with anything, but I'm not sure if I like this comment or not, but I'm going to put it up here. Daniel Key said that the older he gets, the younger we look. And I was like,
I'll take that every time. Yes, sir.
Daniel, I think you may need to go see the eye doctor or something. But anyway, that didn't cost you any extra.
Yeah.
Hey, can we bring in our other special guest for the night?
It is time. What a lead in. The snake in the outhouse to another special guest. Here we go.
But the reason that we started these things was to tell you about a special event that we've got coming up this Saturday night, March 19th at the Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama. And boy, howdy, we have just fallen in love with these guys and on and off the stage. And just do such a wonderful job of singing and ministering to folks. And we are so honored to have Scoot Shellnut with us tonight. Come on in, the water's fine.
What's happening?
How you doing?
Look at there.
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Man, if we was any better, we'd be a Shellnut. So.
Yeah. I like it.
I don't know if the internet can handle all that.
Well, that's true too. But anyway. But man, thank you for taking some time to join us tonight, and just wanted to tell you how excited we are that we're going to get to see you. You were here about a month ago, and got to visit with you then, and looking forward to this Saturday night. But things, there's no such thing as normal anymore, and I'm that's pretty much a given. But has things gotten back a little bit closer to the way it was for the Dixie Echoes than it was
Fairly
2
close.
years ago?
Yeah, fairly close. Normally, we travel around 200 days a year on average. And last year was about half of that. And of course, 2020 was about a third of that. But this year we've been pretty steady for the most part, the whole year so far. So, and the schedule's filling up for later on. So it's looking good.
And you guys, I think y'all have probably gone the longest without putting out new music, but there's a lot of different reasons for that. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's been a while since y'all put out, but is there anything in the pipeline? Are you working on anything?
We're learning songs now for actually two albums. We're going to do a kind of a hits and favorites album with some of the more well-known Dixie Echo songs down through the years with the current lineup. And then we're working on one with some new songs and some new stuff that nobody's heard yet. So
Yeah.
it won't be too long before those will be out. We're going to try to have the hits and favorites one out by the Memphis Quartet show.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
What a segue. You act like you've been interviewed before or something. But that was something that I had on my list to talk to you about, was something that you've been heavily involved in for several years now, is the Memphis Quartet show. And I'll just give you the floor and talk about how did that all come about, and tell us about this year's event.
Well, this year it's going to be Father's Day weekend. It's usually Father's Day weekend. It kind of falls on that. But the dates are June the 15th through the 18th. Wednesday through Saturday, and it's at the Cannon Center in downtown Memphis, Tennessee. And every quartet you could think of will be there. Kingsman, Gold City, Blackwood Brothers, Triumphant, Primitive Quartet, Mark Trammell Quartet, Inspirations, Fairfield 4. Just the list goes on and on. We're just going to have so many great quartets, and it's a great time. And I know y'all have been there, so you know how much fun it is.
Yeah, Neal's gotten to go several years. I haven't made it over yet.
Yeah, that's
because
right. You haven't
my
made
real job requires me to work at a water park during the summer, and I know there's just plenty of jokes there, but I'm
not
still
going there.
threatening. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm trying to see if I can make it happen to sneak over at least for some of it this year. But
Yeah.
we'll get there. But man, I know I would enjoy it, because I mean, y'all bring in the best of the quartets. And you mentioned Fairfield 4. I mean, I kind of fell in love with them back around the time of the Old Brother Where Art Thou movie, and they
Right.
kind of had a resurgence then. And granted, it's different people now, but I mean, y'all had them last year, right? And they just pretty much
We
tore
did.
up the pea patch, didn't
They did a whole matinee last year, and this year we're having them on the night program. I think Saturday night.
they? Yeah.
Yeah, all the information is on our website. It's quartetshow.com, and it'll tell you that the whole lineup is on there. Who's going to be there for the matinees and who's there each night too. So.
All right. So I just going to shut that door. I can hear that dog in there.
All right, Hall. All right, Hall.
Okay.
All right, mighty fine. Here we go. Yeah, it's always something. But anyway, let's talk about this Saturday and the Dixie Echoes. Tell us who's in the group nowadays, and what folks can expect when they come to see us this Saturday night.
Well, of course, I'm what's left of a baritone singer. We've got
Stop it.
my dad is the lead singer, Randy Shelnut Sr. He is Hall of Famer, been here 51 years, and still can do it, still can lay it down. Got two young guys singing with us I'm very proud of. Jordan Wilson singing the bass, and Trenton Williamson singing the tenor part.
Enjoying those guys as they've come aboard, and been cool getting to know them. Of course, we've been getting to know you and your dad for years now, but yeah, it's been good. That's two fine young men I think you got singing with you now.
I think so too. They're good guys, good, easy to travel with. They work hard, and they sing good, and they know what they're singing about. So you can't beat that combo.
Absolutely.
And if folks haven't seen the Dixie Echoes in the last little while, y'all are doing it the way, in my opinion, it should be done. And just doing the old school microphones and the old school singing of the 4-part harmony. And I remember asking this when we talked to you, but how did that process all come together as far as doing the more 4-part style and the older songs. How did that come about?
Well, we've always kind of liked the old stuff anyway. You know, Dad and I, we're fans of that, the old Statesman, Blackwoods, and Rebels, and that stuff. But uh, I think when we started doing the two mic deal, um, it was around 2000, 2001. We were doing the Grand Old Gospel Reunion, and they had a night where you had to use two mics. You couldn't use tracks. You had to do it the old way. So we kind of did it and learned a few songs that way and thought, hey man, this is no wonder they did it. No wonder it was so good. So we started singing like that all the time up until about 7 or 8 years ago, I guess, because when we had a piano player that left, Dad had to start playing and singing again. So it was kind of hard to do the two mic thing, but we still use the old school looking microphones and still play everything live and no tracks, no stacks, nothing like that, and still sing a lot of the old songs.
Yeah, I think y'all are except for maybe the bluegrass group, y'all are about the only mainstream group that have a live band all the time. And I love that. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, us inspirations, I guess. Primitive. There's very few that aren't bluegrass, like you say.
Right.
Well, can we play some Dixie Echoes music?
Oh, please.
That'd be
I've
all
heard
right.
of them.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know is there any particular one you want me to play, or just
Man, play what you feel.
Okay. Let's see. Let's dig a well, can we?
We can.
I like it.
Let's do Dig a Well. Here's the Dixie Echo.
Dig a well when you're losing the fight. Dig a well, dig it deep and wide. Dig a well until you find those everlasting waters that will never run dry. If you're walking through a valley and your soul it feels so dry, dig a well of a living water that will get you to the other side. Dig a well when you're losing the fight. Dig a well, dig it deep and wide. Dig a well until you find those everlasting waters that will never run dry. If you're drinking from a worldly well and you find it can't satisfy, let me tell you about a river that flows within that will never, never, never run dry. Dig a well when you're losing the fight. Dig a well, dig it deep and wide. Dig a well until you find those everlasting waters that will never run dry. Dig a well. Dig a well, dig a well until you find those everlasting waters that will never run dry. Dig a well when you're losing the fight. Dig a well, dig it deep and wide. Dig a well until you find those everlasting waters that will never run dry.
Just go ahead and dig a well. My goodness. Oh boy, that's singing like it ought to be done right there. Let me tell you.
Thank you.
I wonder.
I got to ask the question. Did y'all hear me on the piano right there?
Was you?
thought that was
Piano
you.
playing?
I
Was
was
you
pretty
finger
sure that
singing?
was.
That might have been me. It might have.
Yeah.
I hear you. No, I was going to say something about Scoot. We came to see you one night. Actually, Loretta and I came to see y'all one night up here in Alabama, kind of north central Alabama.
Mhm.
And I know there's no way you can remember all of them, all the dates, but this particular night there was an electrical problem that kind of occurred there at the church. And
Slight, yeah.
yeah, and there
It
was
almost,
actually
almost burned our bus down.
it did. Yeah, a transformer got caught on fire right by where they were parked. And then I think they had like maybe half of the power on or something. So there was some lights, and we went ahead and got started with the concert. And then y'all were, I mean, not very far into the concert that night, and the lights went out. The power went off completely. Right. And so, what does most groups do at that point? They probably say, well, we'll just kind of talk, or y'all come back to the product table, or we'll just whatever. But not the Dixie Echoes. Let me tell you, Randy grabbed the guitar, Randy Sr., and y'all just carried right on. Y'all didn't miss a beat. And that's definitely one of my most memorable concerts that y'all have done.
We talk about that on the bus, how much fun that was. I mean, just impromptu. We're all kind of scared to death because you still, it's still awkward,
right?
Because you don't have your normal set. But it was a lot of fun. We did songs that we hadn't done ever. When I was with the group, I think we did Give Up and some other stuff that we just hadn't done in years and years and years. But it was so much fun, and those impromptu things like that are usually like that. They just are memorable,
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I know you did songs that you didn't typically do with just a guitar, for sure.
Yeah.
And you did other songs, like you say, that you hadn't even sung in a long time. But man, I mean, the people loved it. After you got going a little bit, people started thinking about it and turning their cell phones on, I remember, and kind of holding them up there, and it kind of lit y'all's face up where you could be seen a little bit. And it was
I don't know if that's good or bad.
It was all right. It was all right. It was good. Yeah, but that was definitely a memorable night for sure.
And I'm sure you've probably got other stories of stuff like that has happened, but is there anything else that like sticks out of that happened out of the norm like that?
Well, this will definitely qualify as out of the norm. We sang at a fair in West Virginia one time, and we had finished our set, and it was in a rodeo kind of arena. The stage was set right in the middle of it. There's just a red clay, rodeo arena, and they were pretty good sized stands, where the people were sitting, but they were about 100 feet from us. So we were singing to basically nobody, because the weather was terrible, and you couldn't hear any reaction at all once you get done with the song. They're so far away. So we get done with our set, and we go on the bus to change clothes, and we had our record table sitting out kind of beside the stage there. So it was a pretty good ways from the bus. So we got done changing clothes, and we got off the bus, and everything on our record table, including the table, was all scattered all over the ground, all in that mud and dirt. Well, right in that same arena, right after we got done singing, they set up a little kiddie, like a bull riding. They were riding little calves. One of those calves escaped and made a beeline for our record table. And he plowed right into that thing and tore it all to pieces. So we got out of the bus and thought, what the world happened? So that was, I think that would qualify as a little bit unusual to have your record table run over by a little baby cow.
For sure.
Indeed. Hey, want to say hey to some more folks right quick. Carol Duran's listening in, says she's enjoying it. Scoot, you may see this, but look at there.
Brother Doyle.
Doyle Harper's listening in tonight. He said Scoot is the man. I'll second that motion.
I don't know about all that.
I don't know if we can go any more into this, but Billy Shaw wanted to know, so what is two mics? That's basically, 4 people singing on just 2 microphones.
Right. Yeah, like they used to do in the 50s and 60s. Like you saw on the Gospel Singing Jubilee a lot,
Yep.
You just have to be careful not bump heads, right? When somebody...
Yeah.
Both of you want to get loud.
Because since I play the bass, I got to watch hitting the bass singer in the head with my bass guitar. So
yeah.
I've only done
it a
couple times.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Bet you counted. Yeah. A couple that you counted.
Bass singers ain't got no sense anyway, so it didn't
That's
hurt.
right.
Well, that's true. I'll second that motion too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But Scoot, go ahead, Neal.
Now I was going to say something that me and Scoot discovered quickly that we have in common is liking LPs, liking vinyl. You know that you mentioned earlier, vinyl is coming back,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, I started kind of just gathering up those as I could find them. It's the hunt is as much fun as anything. Trying to locate them, and especially when you get good deals and I mean, Scoot's got 10 times what I've got, but it's been fun to talk with him about the old vinyl. And I focused in on some of the older groups, quartets, and try to just get all I can of them, and I just listen to them like crazy. You mentioned the Rebels earlier. That's one of my favorites. Boy, I listen to.
Yeah.
As soon as I get a Rebels, I might go ahead and digitize it so I can get and listen to it a lot.
They were great.
But I had a Dixie Echoes song on my mind one time, and I it was one of my favorites the Dixie Echoes had ever done, but I couldn't remember for sure what recording it was from. And I reached out to Scoot, and sure enough, just right off the top of his head, he knew exactly which one it was. And then I started looking for it. I went on the hunt, and then I eventually got it, and got that one that had that song on it. Chris, I think I gave it to you like a couple of weeks back. I'll give you a chance to try to locate it because I'd like to play that song. It's not one you guys regularly do now, but it was always one of my favorite recordings from the Dixie Echoes. I'm pretty sure your dad was singing the lead on it. Chris, can you find those songs I gave you some time back?
Well, I'm looking.
A couple weeks ago.
Hang on a second.
That first week, it was. I believe the title of it is "What Manner of Man." I believe.
Yeah.
Was the
Yeah.
title.
Okay. Hang on.
What wonder, what power, what glory, what manner of man. That was always one of my favorite songs.
And it goes something like this.
For hours and hours they tossed on the sea. The billows were raging so high. The poor helpless vessel was fated for ruin, and none of the crewmen knew why. But they had the master of the sea on board. He came up on deck and he beckoned no more. Then the waters got still like they had been before. They all marveled, what manner of man, what manner of man is this who walks with the cripple? Oh, what manner of man is this who talks to the sinful? And when he looks to the wind and says, peace be still, in only a moment it obeys his will. What wonder, what power, what glory, what manner of man. 38 years he laid by a pool. This man was crippled and lame. Each time the angel had troubled the waters, the story was always the same. But this time was different. Jesus was there and he saw the cripple. He answered his prayer, and when he took up his bed, those around only stared and wondered, what manner of man, what manner of man is this who walks with the cripple? Oh, what manner of man is this who talks to the sinful? And when he looks to the wind and says, peace be still, in only a moment it obeys his will. What wonder, what power, what glory, what manner of man. Oh, what wonder, what power, what glory, what manner
Dixie
Always
Echo.
loved that song. Indeed, it was a Dixie Echoes. What manner of man.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's mid 80s probably. I can't remember. I
Hmm.
think around 86, somewhere around that era.
Right. What, you were like, 3 years old then or something?
Yeah, I wish.
No.
I wasn't. I was a little whippersnapper at that point.
Right. Right.
Hey,
Hey,
something I
Mark, you
wanted to ask
remember,
you. Well, can I do something, Neil? Can I ask Scoot something right quick that's on my mind because I don't want to forget it?
say that again
I
because I
said,
didn't
can
get
I?
it.
I said I wanted to ask Scoot something before I forgot it.
Yeah. Go right ahead.
I was talking to somebody today, Scoot, and they were talking about your granddad on your dad's side, Dale Shellnut, who was from not too far from here, probably about
Right.
30 minutes away in Guin, Alabama. But and we were talking about the Dale Shellnut Day that they used to have in Guin, Alabama every year.
Yeah.
But you were fairly young when he passed. But talk about him. Just talk about some of your memories of him.
He was one of a kind guy. I mean, there's no two ways about that. And just how you saw him on stage was how he was off stage. He was kind of crazy, and funny, and just tenderhearted. I spent a lot of time with him. He passed when I was about 4.5 years old, but I got
Yeah.
to spend quite a bit of time with him, and we had a lot of fun out on the farm. He had a little farm about 30 miles out of Pensacola there. Every time he'd get home, he'd load me up in that old Dodge van he painted with a paintbrush, and
Oh,
that's
man.
no joke.
Wow.
And we'd go out there to the farm and hang out, and he had an old horse he gave to me.
Yeah.
So I'd ride the horse, and we just had a big old time.
And then your granddad on your mom's side, you got to sing with him for several years too, Daddy Paul.
Yeah, yeah. I was playing bass. He was singing the baritone, and then when he retired, uh, when I started singing the baritone part. But yeah, I got to travel with Daddy Paul for it's about 6 years, I guess it was. And
But that's
he,
neat to have that legacy on both sides.
yeah, and of course, my he's my favorite baritone. I'll tell him that. I don't tell him that. I tell him Glenn Allred's my favorite. But if I tell Daddy Paul he's my favorite, then he gets a big head.
But turned out some really good music in his time in the baritone slot with the Dixie
He sure
Echoes
did.
too. So
Sure did. And the Bible Tones, Dixie Echoes. Yeah, he was well loved all over the place. Also, just a great person and a funny guy.
yep. And I'm sorry, Neil, I hijacked you, but you was fixing
No,
to
it's
say
all
something.
right. No, I was going to say, I was going to say hey to Mark again and ask him about, of course, you were part of the sessions we did down when we went and recorded down there at Echo Sound Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Some interesting times have been had down there, some interesting conversations, some interesting music. We went down there and recorded the piano track for a project we did with some old hymns. And so yeah, I think you kind of enjoyed sitting there at Randy Shellnut's grand piano and playing, didn't you?
I want to say in front of Scoot, and he can tell his dad, I will tell him in person. I can't tell him how special that was. I do understand that most professional people don't want to be put on the spot and don't like to necessarily play something they're not sure where it's going to go. But just to be able to do that with your dad is actually a blessing because it tells me how much respect he has for my playing. And when he sat down there and they recorded a little of that, that was the most fun thing because we didn't have that planned. I didn't even tell him what song I was playing nor what key. He just sort of looked down. It was kind of funny. He just sort of looked down and just sat down and started playing and followed me. Of course, I was chording on the bottom, so he really could play whatever he was hearing. And it was really fun and it was special. And I'm not making that up. He's one of my favorite players. I really did not know that
Thank
he
you.
was as good of a musician as he was. I mean, I'd seen him play the piano and different guitars, but I know that when y'all do session work, you can go back and re-record till you get it right. And I'm just saying it's very hard to do two things at once. But to see him doing that so fluently, or whatever you want to say, is flawlessly, it's just crazy. But
well, I've been working with him.
You've been what?
I've been working with him as much as I can.
Yeah, I bet you have. Yeah, for sure. Hey, I want to say hey to we, because we're getting into the show, we can't really see everybody that comes by comments, but I did see where Kay Shackford is watching tonight. She said, "Hey, Mark, good to see you." And
hey, Kay.
Mr. Philip Thornell is in the house watching. Yeah.
Oh wow. Hey, Philip.
Yeah, Philip goes way back again in the Columbian days when we first met Philip, playing with the Southerners out of Birmingham, Alabama area. And Rhonda Richardson, hey, good to see you tonight as well.
Hey, Rhonda.
Yeah, Scoot, you said something about your granddaddy being a little crazy, I think you said at one time.
Yeah.
Some of that definitely rubbed off on your daddy, I believe, because
I
remember,
especially in his older age, he is getting a little bit yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is? Oh, I see. I'll okay, yeah.
Well, he's got to the age now to where he just don't care no more.
Right. That can be dangerous, can't it?
So his filter ran out about 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Hey, Scoot,
he hadn't replaced that thing in a little while.
Tell him he's getting too much like me. That's part of my problem. I actually give everybody else too much ammunition to laugh at me about. But on the other hand, it's 110%, and there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with being if you're going to do
exactly
it,
right.
Just do it, and no regrets.
Yeah. In thinking about him being crazy, Mark, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was the first session we did down there when we first, we're getting to know them really. We tried to, even back then, to go live on Facebook, which is a fairly newer thing. I mean, this was over 10 years ago. And we were telling about we was there recording whatever, and Randy just he just hijacked the session. He jumped right in front of my phone. I was showing you, and he jumped right in front of me. Said, Mark came in here the other day and was telling me a story about writing a song he did, and he just, he just took over, man. It's like at that time I wasn't sure how to take it, but then I actually liked it by the time it was over. Hey, I like this guy.
Well, I've got to throw something out, Scoot. I intend on pitching y'all a song, okay? And I'm telling this up front because it's probably the weirdest song I've ever written, and I can't even imagine how I'm going to pitch it. Really, to be honest with you.
Well, I cannot wait.
Okay, I bet. Look, set
Just be kind to me. Be kind to me.
I'm a little anxious and scared at the same time.
Y'all coming up Saturday night, March 19th.
Yes, I was fixing to say, Neal, let's reset the room right quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Oh, you're fine, but I was just, we're telling the folks about this concert that we're having coming up on Saturday night, March 19th at 7:00 at the Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama. Chosen Witness will be there. Faithful Friends will be there. And they're especially pleased to have the Dixie Echoes coming to be with us. And Scoot was talking a little bit earlier about how they're working on some of their some new music that will be coming out soon. And he was kind enough to send me the cover art. And so this is the group that you'll be seeing on Saturday night. So
there we go. On the far right.
On the far right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was a little too tight in that one.
I couldn't resist. Scoot.
All right.
Mighty fine.
It's like you're not a true Southern gospel fan if you don't get a little hog going and blowing that.
I can't wait for my T-shirt, by the way.
Oh, yes. It was like, if Hog was here, he'd say, now, Scoot, for being our guest on the WEAK, we're going to award you with our limited edition Road Hog T-shirt. All
yes.
Right, mighty fine.
Or Chris, carton of eggs from Ernie's Egg Market.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Oh, we've run off the rails now. So
you might ought to run the giveaway one more time. I know we got some more folks on here than we had earlier.
Eggs.
Eggs. No eggs. No free eggs.
But we've got a bunch of old Bama Boys records from back in mine and Neal and Mark's early days, and if you would like to get a couple of those, all you have to do is jump in the comments on whatever format that you're listening to us on, and just look down there in the bottom left of your screen and enter that. Depending on your generation, it's either a hashtag or a pound sign or a tic-tac-toe board. But just do that, and then Bama Boys all mashed up together like that. And before we get off here tonight, we're going to let somebody get a couple of Bama Boys records so that you can kind of see over my shoulder there's one of them. And we'll do that. So, yeah, if y'all want to get some of those, and we'll do the drawing here in just a little while. But just put in hashtag or pound sign Bama Boys, just mash it all up together, and we'll try to get you some records out there. It's just been in our closet and storage buildings and everything else for 40 years or close to it now. And now that the vinyl has come back in, then it's like, well, here we go. Everything old is new again. So just put hashtag Bama Boys, and I'll leave that up there, and you can copy it down and put that in the comments, and we'll give those away in a little bit. I had to say this. Miss Martha Porter, who has been one of our greatest supporters for a number of years, Neal, made a statement that I don't believe I have ever seen before. And she said this: Mark, you're quiet. And I said, well, there's a first time for everything, Miss Martha. But anyway, I just...
Martha, you been hitting a NyQuil tonight or something?
I guess that was before I started talking to Mark again. He had a time there when, mute buttons are wonderful. And so there was a time there when he was a little quieter,
but we love Mark. And like
yes,
I said, he's been our, how many different honorary brothers have we got, Neal? But he's definitely in that number.
Absolutely.
So, a bunch of them. And what do brothers do? They pick on each other. So
yeah. Yeah.
And see, Mark gives me that look like I can't tell if he's, just taking it all in, or if he's about ready to jump through the screen and punch me in the mouth, or what. But
I'm almost ready to not pitch that song on Saturday night, because I can't imagine how y'all going to treat me about that.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
No different than we always do, Mark. No different than we always do.
Oh, boy.
Scoot, we would stay here all night, and we've probably already taken up too much of your time, but and you're free to go at any time. You're not locked into this, but
I'm good.
I feel like in all the radio interviews that I've done, there's only so many questions you can ask, and this probably isn't a fair question, but I'm fixing to take a survey and see if I care. Has there ever been something that you've wanted people to ask you in an interview that they haven't? And I don't know if you need some.
I can't really think
some
of
time
anything.
to think about that or not. But I just,
I've had plenty of stuff I didn't want them to ask me. I know that, but I can't think of anything that
like he was all prepared to answer it, and then it just never got asked. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. But,
yeah,
man, I really can't think of anything.
Okay. Mark was talking about putting you on the spot a while ago. I said, well, here, Mark, hold my Kool-Aid. I'm going to show you what putting somebody on the spot's all about. So.
I got a question for you.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Right now. And, it'll probably take a guess, but I don't know. Knowing you probably know the exact number. So how many different bass guitars have you played on stage over the years?
Oh, wow. On stage. Let me think about that a minute.
Okay. Because I'm sure they all got names and numbers, and you could probably come up with that number. So
I'm trying to go down the timeline here.
And I'm not saying
at least 10.
At least 10. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I'm going to say more in the 12 to 15 range, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I
got a question for Scoot.
Okay.
Out of all of those guitars and things that I've seen in your studios, and I know you probably have more that's not pulled out, I'm not even going to say how you got them. In other words, it's not necessarily that you bought them or didn't, but what I'm asking, did any of those come from anybody that either makes it special or was famous or something like that you got your hands on?
There's a couple, yeah. Well, I played a blue one, the blue Squire bass that my granddaddy bought me, and that was real
Mm.
special. I played it for a lot of years, and I played a Samick bass for a while that came from Mr. Jones, Bob Jones, that was kind of the head of Samick, and Les Beasley had actually took care of that for me. He kind of got that for me.
Wow.
Wow.
So I could kind of push Samick a little bit. And then let's see. Well, one of those that was in the studio was a Spear family bass. Now the guy
Wow.
who was with the Spear family, it's a Mosrite, and it's a kind of a prototype model for a gospel bass is what they called it. And there's the serial number on it 005. So there's not many of them.
Wow.
Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
many of those out there.
Man,
But
no.
so yeah, and they've all got a story, and they all have their own certain sound. So I try to keep a lot of them in the studio to if a certain song needs a certain thing, then that's kind of what I try to use.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I had shared with you once before about the bass that I have that my dad gave me on my 18th birthday. Is that Peavy bass? It weighs about 1,200 pounds on your shoulder. And
The T40, yeah, that was the
T40.
first bass I ever played. I never played that one on stage, luckily, but Dad had one in the house.
Okay,
And,
yeah.
yeah. So that was kind of the one I started on.
I was watching some through some YouTube videos, the Dixie Echoes from over the years, and there's one where your daddy's playing lead guitar and he's playing a PVT 60 on that video.
Oh yeah,
look at there,
yeah.
man! What I wondered if that was actually his or if that's just was in the studio that day and he's playing it. Or
I want to say he borrowed that one. I don't remember him ever having one, but I think I know Woody Wright or one of those on Sing Out America. I want to say Woody Wright may have owned that, or one of those guys that was the staff musicians on that show.
Right. Yeah. This may not be amusing to everybody watching, but boy, it sure is to us. I love talking about stuff like this. So very cool.
Hey, Scoot, let me ask you about something if I can. Let me jump in. Sure. Well, did you have another bass guitar question, Neal?
No, I didn't. No, go.
You're the executive producer, so yeah. But Ken Cook, that sings with Faithful Friends with me, and one of our honorary dads of mine and Neal's, asked for this song, and he came to a Faithful Friends practice a while back and said, "Boys, I want to sing this song." And it's one that you're featured on, and I know it's special to you, but Crumbs from the Table. Talk about that song and how y'all came to sing it and what it does mean to you.
We had a lady come in the studio from Louisiana, and I had never heard the song. Dad kind of recognized it from the Florida Boys. They did it back in the early 70s, I guess it was. But she immediately started singing that song, and oh man, Spirit of the Lord was all up in the studio. And I told, we kind of looked at each other and said, man, we've got to do this song. But that's kind of where I first heard it. And man, it's just such a great message in this one. You gotta, the little things in life, the crumbs from the table, little things in life, the most important things that sometimes we kind of forget about.
Yeah.
But the Lord blesses us with those little crumbs sometimes, and I tell you, it's just a great one. Great one.
Absolutely.
Let's listen to it. I think I've been scrambling here because I've been having some issues between music players, but I think this is going to work. If not, we'll punt and try something else, but I think it's going to come through here for me. And we're efforting. There we go.
Your children who walk in perfection, who manage to master your will. Give them their share of sweet milk and wild honey, strength needed to follow thee. Lord, I'm not worthy to eat from the platter, for I'm just a beggar in need. Satisfy others, but when they're all finished, dear Jesus, have mercy on me. Feed the children, but give me the crumbs from the table. I'll wait for them down on my knees. I'd be ever so grateful for crumbs from the table, for strength needed to follow thee. I'd be ever so grateful for crumbs from the table, for strength needed to follow thee.
Boy, howdy. This may be the part where we all squall like mashed cats. Shoot. That's good stuff right there. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I got so carried away. I forgot to hit pause. But
You notice I had to stop the camera there for a minute. So. I've been in several concerts where if we wasn't already having church broke out when that song was sung. Let me tell you,
That's the truth.
Lord moves.
and
true.
Scoot, I don't know. I just saw this comment just rolled in from Robbie Maxwell and said that Scoot, was she the woman that came in and sung that song? Or is that
No.
something else?
No.
Hey,
No,
Robbie, it's good to see you on here tonight. Thank you. I don't know if
this is a special announcement. Well, I say special for some, it may be special. Our tenor singer Trenton, his sister is getting married this week, so he's not going to be at the concert.
Yeah.
So we've got a fill-in who has been playing the piano for New Ground.
Yeah.
And so Wesley Smith's going to sing tenor with us this week.
Get out.
So yeah, he had to ask Sister Robbie's permission.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I owe her for. I guess I owe her a Jack's hamburger or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if I may have let the cat out of the bag too soon, but man, we're gonna miss Trenton. But Wesley,
Yeah.
man, that's gonna be great. He's just up the road in Two Springs, as
Oh,
I like
yeah.
to call it. But
Two
he sang with
Springs.
you guys for quite. That's double Springs if
Yeah.
you're scoring at
Double,
home.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 15
got a
other people I
question.
called before him couldn't make it, so
Yeah.
we
I got a
had to
question.
settle for Wesley.
Yes, Mark, I see that hand.
Can 3 people play on a piano at the same time, or is that not enough piano bench?
If each of you just uses one hand, we might can
Yeah, one hand,
can
yeah.
do that.
Oh me.
But man, we
My.
are so excited to see you guys on Saturday, and then to singing Saturday
Absolutely.
night at 7:00 at the Fayette Civic Center. And like I said, we've kept you way under too long, but we appreciate you
Oh
having.
man, I've had fun.
It's like you remember Steve Perkins that used to play bass for the
Yeah.
Bishops back in the day, and Steve was the originator of this. But one time when they were singing with us, he said, "Chris, I'll just tell you, if we live closer, we'd just hang out." And that's how I feel about you, Scoot. If we live closer, we'd just
I
hang
know it.
out. So,
I'd be right there. You wouldn't be able to get rid of me.
well, I don't know about that now. We like having you around. But anything else? I mean, and like I say, you're welcome to stay, and we're liable to be here when the 10:00 news comes on. But I don't want you to feel like you're locked in and you can't leave. So.
Well, it's all right. I did get a not an evil look, but a look while ago. My little boy, he's 7. And his school, of course, he's in school, so it's a school night, and he's going to bed here pretty quick. So
All right.
I better get him tucked in the bed and get him ready for tomorrow.
You
All
tend to Drew, and man, we sure do appreciate you joining us tonight, and look forward to
Man,
seeing you
it's been fun.
Saturday.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on here, and we sure look forward to being with y'all.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Scoot Shellnut. Good night, Scoot, and we'll see you
Good night,
Saturday,
sir.
Lord willing. Boy, howdy. Oh, man, that was good. I'm sorry.
Fine.
Something wrong with my eye. I got something in my eye or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, when we get to going, and it's Scoot's just fine folk. And he's too nice to say, boys, I got to go. So
Yeah, and Robbie Maxwell, I see you say you were nice with exclamation points. Does that mean that's an odd thing? Like it doesn't happen very often?
hey, easy now. Don't be throwing off on Robbie.
No, I know it's not. And we appreciate you being nice this week, as we didn't even
Yes.
know it that we did, but now we do. We appreciate you
Yeah.
being nice.
Thanks for giving us the inside information, Robbie.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I
boys,
know.
is there anything else we need to do, or are we going to go on a little while? Or are we fixing to wrap it up, or what?
I was going to say, I know New Ground, Robbie's group is going to be up in Arab, up at Eddie Baptist Church here in the not too distant future. So that'd be a good time to go hear some mighty fine singing from New Ground
Well,
up there at
yeah.
Eddie Baptist. Yeah. I don't know the date right off the bat, but if you'll be watching for it, I'm sure you'll hear about it. So
And she'll tell us here in just a second. I'm sure if she don't know it off the top of her head, she's looking it up right now because
That's
she's firing.
That's right.
So while we're waiting on that information, we're going to give you one more chance here, or one more opportunity, I guess I should say. If you would like a couple of Bama Boys records, a couple of old Bama Boys records from 85 and 87, the Payday in Heaven, the Ours, and the others, if you will just in the comments right now, put that what you see down there on the left side of the screen, bottom left-hand corner, the hashtag Bama Boys, just put everything together. Don't put any spaces in or anything, because this is a deal that it just looks for that. And if you don't put that, we can't include you in the giveaway. But if you want a couple of Bama Boys records, and we'll bring them to you Saturday night, or we'll get them to you another way if you can't come, but we're counting on you coming. But if you'll put that in, and we'll just give it a couple of minutes here, and we'll give that away before we get off tonight. And we're just getting in some information. Yes, Robbie says that New Ground's going to be there on April 29th, Eddie Baptist at 7:00.
Yep.
Good
That'll
to
be a
see
fine
that.
time.
And this just in from Scott Bolden, said that there may be an opportunity for someone to win 2 Sunday night tickets to this year's National Quartet Convention, compliments of the SGMA at this weekend's concert. So how about that?
Wow. Boy, there's
Oh,
a reason
wow.
to come right
There's
there.
another reason to come. So,
Wow.
but yeah, Scott's going to be there talking about the SGMA and all their goings on. They are in the midst of relocating the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame and Museum. And we'll throw this up right quick. If you'd like some more information about the SGMA, just visit sgma.org. So there you go. There's just all kind of good stuff happening all of a sudden that we didn't know about. So
That is, yeah.
One bit of information. I was writing a song last night, right? And had it partly written.
Yeah.
I finished that
Yeah.
today, as you know, but I've also written another one since then. And I really can't remember when I've written 2 songs in 2 days. It's been years.
Oh,
wow.
And it's just fun for me. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's funny how it goes in cycles, or not depression, but one thing is time. Things steal your time and your thoughts, just like Chris will go trying to do 4 or 5 things at once. And you got to do it. But I'm
Yeah.
saying it does divert you somewhat. And when you're trying to write something or whatever, you can't really control how that works. And so I'm pretty excited about that.
Good deal.
Personally.
Yeah. Good deal. Yeah, that's when Mark has a new song, and when he has runs where he writes a lot of songs, boy, it's always interesting. I mean, he's pitched, I say pitch songs to me. He shares them with me, because we're in the group together, and I've got memories of numerous ones that we did, and right where I was when Mark first sang it to me, and hearing Mark sing it, that's one of the highlights. Let me tell you, for sure.
And didn't your dad give me a really big compliment about my singing?
Well, I don't know if he did or not, but I remember you talking to my dad one time about your singing, and because Mark just played the piano with a group, never, hardly ever got up and sang, but he could, even during practice, he could help us find a part, because he could hear harmony and that kind of stuff. And Daddy said something about him singing one night, and he looked at Daddy, Mark did, and said, Joe said, you know what? I can sing real good. It just don't sound worth nothing. So I guess that's what you're talking about. It's how you told Daddy about your singing. Yeah. So I've never really figured that one out. Sang real good, but just don't sound worth nothing. But no,
hey boy,
Mark does all right.
Look at this. Wesley joined us. He's in here. He said, just one hope for the weary. So
there you go.
That's
there's a hook, Mark Jones. Just one hope for the weary.
I've already wrote that. I've already wrote
okay.
Just one hope, and there's just one hope for the weary. There's just one hope for the lost. Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, right, that's what Wesley's talking about. Wesley sang that song, remember, with the group that he was with at one time. That's why he put that up there. So anyway, poor Mark, Wesley, he just can't keep up with it all.
It was a joy to know that we're going to get to see you Saturday night too, man. We're looking forward to that.
That's all
right. I'm going to back up just a minute and say, Mark, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the first song that you wrote Where Are You, or was that just the first one that was recorded?
That's the first one that he ever shared with us, at least.
I don't have the Jeopardy music. Yeah.
I think it was the first one I wrote. I think it was.
But let's turn on the Wayback Machine to the Bama Boys. This is from what, Neal? 84, I think, is when we did this. And the quality's not that great. We'll go ahead and tell you that.
Yeah.
But can I play that one right quick?
Yeah, go ahead. It was a little 4-track studio in the back of a Radio Shack store, I remember, is where we recorded that.
Yep. Let's see if I can get it to play. Yeah, here we go.
When I get to heaven some sweet day, all troubles and heartaches will be taken away. No rain and no storm clouds will ever fill the air, for clear skies and sunshine will be everywhere. When I get to heaven, I'll be at home, and there's a master sitting on the throne, and there is my mother and daddy too, and all my friends are there, but where are you? When I leave this old world and all life creates, my soul will flow through those bright pearly gates. I'll shake hands with Matthew, John, Paul, and St. Peter too. I'll walk down those streets of gold. How about you? When I get to heaven, I'll be at home, and there's a master sitting on the throne, and there is my mother and daddy too, and all my friends are there, but where are you? And all my friends are there, where are you?
There's you some Bama Boys music from way back in the day. And Where Are You? How about that? That's good stuff, Mark.
That's all right. Yep. I distinctly remember when you first brought that to us.
And what those led to, and several people around here know that I wrote a Kingsman cut, got a Kingsman cut, but what's wild is it wasn't long after that. In other words, when we learned that song, Step Inside the Gate, it was recorded at an old barn. We set the little cassette recorder on some hay bales.
Mm-hmm.
I think Robinson's barn, does that sound right, Chris?
Yep,
Okay.
just outside of Millport.
And that was they ended up cutting it, I think maybe in 88, something like that, 87, 88. And so it couldn't have been too many years after those 4 or 5 really early songs right there.
Yeah, it was on the Mississippi Live projects when they recorded it inside the gate.
Live album, yeah.
Which we all loaded up and put on our coats and ties like folks used to do when they went to a concert. And
that's right.
Heard them, and Daddy was pointing and saying, he wrote that song.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Mark, Philip Thornell wants to know if you're still playing in the group. Yes, he is.
Chosen Witness. He'll be playing Saturday night, March 19th in Fayette, Alabama with Chosen Witness. That's right.
Yep.
All the things that you remember, though. Wesley Smith says, put your hand in a fan and you will lose a finger. You know where that came from, Mark?
I do.
Our bass singer, Greg Harrelson, used to sing that, and that's what he remembers about Chosen Witness right there. Put your hand in a fan. So. How can you forget that when Greg used to do that? Yeah.
Well, guys, we've been here, an hour and 28 minutes. So this is the longest one yet, and we could probably go another hour or two, but we need to start wrapping things up. So
I'm gonna write another song called "It's Almost Supper Time."
Okay. Yes, it is. I hadn't either.
All right.
And Neal, you get pinched because you're not wearing green on St. Patrick's Day. Me and Mark both are. So
I'm sure not. That's right. Yeah, I didn't play along. Not at all.
Let me see if I can get this going. Let's do our little giveaway, and
all right.
I think we'll see if I can get this going, and we'll have our little drawing here. If I can get it. Yep, here we go. There we go. It's going to cycle through and tell us who won. So,
it's building. Tensions are mounting. Drum roll, please.
Yes. And Miss Martha Porter. There you go.
Wow.
Two original sealed Bama Boys LPs.
Yes. So I hope you're going to get to be with us on Saturday night. But if for whatever reason you can't, just let me know and we'll get those to you. So congratulations to Miss Martha Porter. And,
all right, man.
There we go. Now we're back to where we're supposed to be. All right.
I've enjoyed it.
Any closing comments?
Thanks for joining, Mark. Saturday night is coming up. Be there, please. Tell as many as you can. Tell them to come. We'd love to do more, but we got to have support.
I'll be early.
No,
Mark
I don't
that down
that for a minute. I don't believe that for a minute.
Down. If he says he'll be
singing
early.
Starts at 7:00. Mark will walk in about 7:07. So no, I'm just taking on.
And I think me and Chris will probably be back talking about some more of these memories here coming up. So be watching for another live stream on Facebook.
Yep.
And YouTube and all these places.
Yes, it's all kind of different places. But guys, sure have enjoyed it. And one more time, Saturday night, March 19th, is coming Saturday night, day after tomorrow, ever how you want to say it, at 7:00 at the Fayette Civic Center. Chosen Witness, Faithful Friends, and the Dixie Echoes. And we sure would love to see y'all there and hope you can be with us. Anything else, boys? All minds clear?
Everything's clear. Good night, and we'll see you again.